We have been emphasized this importance of unity, and we hear people talk, and I know, brothers and sisters, most of you sitting here today, you are sick and tired of disunity. You're sick and tired of the different jama'ats and the different hizbs and the different parties and the different groups bickering and arguing amongst each other about things that you perceive to be petty and insignificant. The people are divided along the lines of tribe, along the lines of color, along the lines of language. Even more absurd and even more ridiculous. It's insane. I think we Muslims are in a collective state of psychosis because we're proud to belong to a country that was a map drawn by the non-Muslims 40, 50 years ago. How insane is that? Zindabad, Pakistan. Zindabad, Pakistan. Pakistan is a country that was put there by the British. Maps drawn on the line. Egypt, Libya, Tunisia, Morocco. Lines drawn on maps by the French, by the Italians, by the British. Dividing us up into nations. And now we are screaming fanatically, rallying behind some flag that didn't even exist 100 years ago, ready to fight for it and die for it. This is madness. This is sickness. This is something so far removed from what Allah revealed to Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam. It's nothing but hizbiyah. It's nothing but another form of tribalism, of partisan spirit, about which the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, whoever calls for asabiyah, whoever calls for tribalism, and whoever fights for asabiyah, for tribalism, then they call and they fight and they die the death of Jahiliyyah. They die and they fight and they call for the death of ignorance, the time of ignorance. Yet these are the lines upon which we are divided. Nationalistic lines, tribalistic lines, sectarian lines. Yet Allah warned us in the Quran, many times in the Quran, about the danger of dividing into sects and groups. Indeed, He said, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said to the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wasallam, as for those people who divide their deen into sects, the meaning of which is, as for those people who divide their deen into sects, you have nothing to do with them in the least. Their reckoning is with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And in the Quran, Allah likened those people who divide the religion into sects and into groups. He likened them to the mushriks. And indeed it is one of the quality and the sifat and the attributes of disbelievers, that they divide the deen into sects. They divide the religion into groups. Each one rejoicing in the part that is with them.
أنا العبد الذي كسب الذنوب وصدته الأماني أن يتوب. أنا العبد الذي يضحى حزينا على زلاته قلقا كئيبا. أنا العبد الذي كسب الذنوب وصدته الأماني أن يتوب. أنا العبد الذي أضحى حزينا على زلاته قلقا كئيبا.
What is culture? When we say culture, what do we mean? Actually, from my research, there is no easy definition of culture. Culture is the things that people do the things that people believe, the customs that people follow. It is in fact the social and physical environment in which people live. This is culture. Culture can be good and culture can be bad. The criterion or the means that we should judge our behavior, therefore, is not as Muslims based upon culture. It is not based upon what the people around us do. It is not based upon what my mother and father and my grandfather. It is not based upon what the people happen to be doing around us and what is normative behavior amongst them. No, that is not what our religion is based upon. The religion of Islam and being a Muslim is based upon what we have already said. The guidance from Allah in the Quran and the example of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. This is the basis of being Muslim, and this is the basis of Islam. Now some people will say, are you telling me that my ancestors are misguided? Are you telling me that my father and my grandfathers are wrong? Well, in response to this, I will ask you, are you telling me that your father and your grandfathers are infallible? That they could make no mistake? That they could not possibly in any way fail to misunderstand Islam? Are you telling me it is impossible that they have misunderstood or misrepresented something from the religion by mistake? If you know they have made a mistake, will you follow their mistake? If you know they have done something wrong, will you keep following them in wrong? If that is your choice, how can you claim to be Muslim? If you know that what your ancestors are doing, if you know that what your culture teaches is against the teaching of the Quran and is against the teaching of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, what does it mean, Muslim? What does the word mean, Muslim? Do you submit to Allah or do you submit to your culture? Make your choice. Because believe me, brothers and sisters, no prophet came to his people except they said exactly this: we are following the way of our ancestors.
واعتصموا بحبل الله جميعا ولا تفرقوا واذكروا نعمة الله عليكم إذ كنتم أعداء فألف بين قلوبكم فأصبحتم بنعمته إخوانا وكنتم على شفا حفرة من النار فأنقذكم منها كذلك يبين الله لكم آياته لعلكم تهتدون.
لبيك لا شريك لك لبيك إن الحمد والنعمة لك والملك لا شريك لك لبيك.